The top stories for the hour. Farm Africa says put climate cash where it counts. And German envoy says GERD is a beacon of hope. Hello and everyone, welcome to ABC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism. I am Binyam Getana with the news. Do stay tuned, I'll get back in a minute. Welcome back now, the news in full. In a landmark move for global collaboration, the United Nations General Assembly has adopted a powerful resolution aimed at strengthening ties with the African Union, a step held by the AU Commission Chairperson Mohamed Ali Yusuf as a major leap forward for Africa's development and peace. During its 79th session, the UN General Assembly endorsed the resolution that reinforces cooperation with the AU, describing it crucial to promoting the core principle of both the UN Charter and the AU's Constitutive Act. At the heart of the resolution lies a firm endorsement of the AU's transformative blueprint, Agenda 2063, a 50-year strategy for building an integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa driven by its own citizens. The resolution also reaffirms alignment with UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, creating a shared roadmap towards economic growth, social inclusion and global stability. Chairperson Yusuf welcomed the move, reaffirming the AU's unwavering commitment to deepening collaboration with the UN in addressing Africa's key challenge, from peace and security threats to development hurdles and human rights concerns. The resolution calls for ongoing measures to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the UN-AU partnership, especially in tackling the continent's pressing issues. With both Agenda 2063 and 2030 on the table, the stage is set for what many see as a new era of Africa-led progress with global support. In other news, Ethiopia lit up Moscow's Philharmonic Hall with a vibrant splash of rhythm, tradition and color as the King Ethiopia took to the stage for their second cultural performance in Russia, an electrified celebration of heritage that doubled as a bold display of cultural diplomacy. Organized by Ethiopia's Ministry of Culture and Sport, the event drew a full house. Russian citizens, diplomats, international students and proud members of the Ethiopian diaspora came together for an unforgettable evening that bridged continents. Opening the night, State Minister Nafat Ahmad spoke passionately about the long-standing friendship between Ethiopia and Russia, calling attention to their century-old cultural cooperation. She also used the occasion to offer heartfelt Ethiopian New Year greetings and to celebrate a national milestone, the successful completion of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Likewise, the showcase itself was nothing short of spectacular, kicking off with the traditional Ethiopian coffee.
مسكال برهان كونه ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ፀገምና ሓሊፋ ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ኣዝመራና ፈሪዩ ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ክንበልዕ ሸዊትና ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ሃገርና ኢትዮጵያ ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ሰላም ይግበረልና ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ኣብ ስደት ዘለኹ ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ ኣብ ዓዲ ዘለኹ ቅዱስ ዮሐንሰይ እንኳ ኣብፅሐኩ ዮሐንስ
Welcome back. You're still on ABC World as the news continues. Farm Africa is sounding the alarm on Climate Adoption Fund, saying the Climate Adoption Fund must flow directly to the grassroots. Program Director Tom Kadugan is urging global donors and policy makers to ditch the top-down approach and invest where it matters most, with the farmers, women and local groups battling climate change head-on. By supporting village savings groups and local cooperatives like those formed by women agro-pastoralists in Ethiopia's Afar and Oromia region, Farm Africa says communities can better shield themselves from the growing threat of climate shocks and safeguard their livelihoods. Goshu Meleso has the full story.
The second Africa Climate Summit brought together heads of state, global partners and experts to find Africa-led solutions to combat climate change, and climate financing was one of the major discussion points. Among the dedicated organizations present is Farm Africa, a non-profit working to improve livelihoods and restore ecosystems in Ethiopia through sustainable agricultural practices and community engagement in climate resilience. Speaking to EBC on climate financing, the program director of Farm Africa said empowering local saving groups, cooperatives and microfinance institutions is key to protecting millions from climate shocks and enhancing adaptation.
At the global level, our leaders will be focused on the global finance architecture. And one of the key challenges we've seen, particularly with climate adaptation finance, is ensuring it can reach communities. So the fundamental fabric, I believe, of enhancing those local climate resilient systems is to focus on the groups and institutions which actually service our communities. I mean our savings groups, credit unions, our microfinance institutions, our microinsurance opportunities, as well as our broader, be they forest or cooperative unions. That is where the fundamental aspects sometimes get excluded, but those are key in facilitating climate adaptation solutions for communities that suffer loss and damage as a result of climate change.
Tom highlighted Ethiopia as a model where Farm Africa has pioneered participatory forest and rangeland management.
The role of Ethiopia has been able to play has been in establishing fundamental participatory forest management units and participatory rangeland management units. So I'll give you two examples where we've been working directly at a community level with women agro-pastoralists in encouraging them to form village saving loans groups. At the same time, we've been working with private sector institutions such as microfinance institutions and seeing where wider working capital can be deployed to those microfinance institutions and where our women agro-pastoralists can then purchase microinsurance, which then protects them from floods and or drought. The main aspect there is their household assets are then protected in light of any climate shocks. But it's been done in partnership both with private sector and with local government authorities.
Shawit Emmanuel, country director of Farm Africa in Ethiopia, said the organization shared its pioneering work on the REDD+ carbon program and nature-based solutions during the second Africa Climate Summit.
As Farm Africa, we were invited to the African Climate Summit to share our experience on the REDD+ carbon work, our nature-based solution program that we've been implementing in 9 regions, as well as the gender transformative climate smart agriculture we've been working on in Afar and Oromia region. We spoke our experience both on the challenges as well as the opportunities that exist to support smallholder farmers to become climate resilient.
supported by Agra Deep Brace project implemented by Farm Africa in partnership with local stakeholders, help smallholder farmers in Oromia boost food security and increase incomes by improving the sustainability, productivity and resilience of the wheat value chain, Eros learned. She highlighted the Bali Ecoregion project, where forest conservation has boosted livelihoods, improved nutrition and kept children in school.
REDD+ program in Ethiopia is by supporting the communities and the local government to jointly implement the project in Bali Ecoregion in protecting and preserving the Bali forest. So not only did it reduce deforestation and degradation, but it also contributed to reducing carbon emission from that reduced deforestation. And so it contributed to combating the climate shocks. And not only did they preserve the environment, but also they improved their livelihood.
The second Africa Climate Summit, she added, was focused on action showing how both governments and communities can work together to build resilience against climate shocks.
That was Goshu Melissa for the report. Moving forward, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a beacon of hope for clean energy collaboration in the Horn of Africa and a testament to Ethiopian national unity. This is according to Ferdinand von Wehe, charged the affairs of German embassy in Addis Ababa. He noted that the remarkable public support behind the project, underscoring that the contribution from Ethiopians nationwide made the dam a true expression of national unity. Kasaon Chane compiled Ena's file.
Van Weij made a statement in an interview with the Ethiopian news agency ENA following the dam's official inauguration last Tuesday. The envoy praised the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam GERD as a potential engine for regional integration. According to Van Weij, GERD transcends national significance, playing a key role in advancing Africa's broader energy development aims. He told ENA that the remarkable public support fueling the project demonstrates through nationwide contributions underscores GERD as a genuine expression of national unity.
I heard about the inauguration, and I heard so many people whom I'm talking to being very proud of this dam, and I hear and I feel that so many Ethiopians stand behind this dam because there were so many contributions from people all around the country. It's an impressive dam. I haven't seen it, but it must be very impressive. And I think this brings us also a little bit to the African Climate Summit, because this dam meant for electricity purpose, with such a huge capacity of producing electricity, is not the only one. I've come across other dams under construction in Ethiopia where electricity is to be produced, feeding into the grid, not only for Ethiopia, but also beyond Ethiopia, for the Horn and beyond. So I think this is very important also for the connectivity between Ethiopia and its neighbors.
The German Chargé d'Affaires emphasized that GERD would both boost Ethiopia's power grid and improve regional power interconnections. Speaking to ENA, he stressed the importance of cooperation among the countries that share the water resources. Comparing Ethiopia's energy sector with Germany's, Van Weij pointed out Germany's focus on wind and solar power, contrasting it with Ethiopia's advantageous position with abundant hydropower.
The water of the River Nile, of the Abe River, is so important to so many riparian countries, so it is very important. And you might be aware that there is a Nile Basin Initiative, which we very much are now, Nile River Basin Commission to be found, which is heavily supported by Germany, because I think, and this is our own experience in Germany, only if riparian work together along the river, it can be fully use the potential of a river.
The German diplomat detailed the ongoing partnerships between Germany and Ethiopia. He mentioned the active participation of German companies in biomass research and the development of solar and biomass energy resources. He noted these collaborations are vital for reducing reliance on less environmentally friendly energy sources and hastening the shift to cleaner, more sustainable energy alternatives.
Germany, we are not that gifted and blessed in the way as Ethiopia is with so much hydropower. We have much less hydropower. We are expanding our windmill capacities, onshores and offshores. We are expanding our solar capacities, although here again it's much less capacity and blessed by location than it is Ethiopia.
Van Wy stated that Ethiopia is an example in sustainable energy development and confirmed Germany's dedication to fostering collaborative relationships.
And finally, Ethiopia's fight against climate change is earning global praise, with the World Meteorological Organization's Assistant Secretary General Thomas Asseyer applauding the country's bold Green Legacy initiative and major stride in climate action and weather monitoring. In a strong show of support, Asseyer urged nations across the global south to join forces on climate adoption, emphasizing that collaboration, not isolation, is key to tackling the mounting climate crisis. Shogai Mato has more on this.
Ethiopia has been taking concrete steps for climate action, including the planting of over 48 billion trees over the last 7 years through the Green Legacy Initiative. Due to the tangible results in the fight against climate change, Ethiopia was chosen and hosted the second Africa Climate Summit in cooperation with the African Union in Addis Ababa from September 8 to 10, 2025. In an exclusive interview with the Ethiopian news agency, Assistant Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, Thomas Asseyer, urged countries in the global south to work together on climate adaptation. He added that the South-South cooperation has a bigger role to play in climate adaptation.
South-South cooperation have a bigger role to play in climate adaptation. I think that we are in the global south face common phenomenon, and have sometimes our circumstances are probably the same, and therefore solutions that have emanated from other countries in the global south becomes more appropriate to our needs than the global north, based on the environment, the circumstances that we are exposed to. And so that is critical.
The Assistant Secretary General also praised the country's climate action, mentioning Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's concrete steps through the Green Legacy Initiative. He praised Ethiopia's willingness to share its climate action experience with other nations, highlighting its role in fostering global cooperation.
I think Ethiopia's commitment to climate action is undoubted and is undisputed. It has a very top-level commitment from the Prime Minister, and you can see it in action, not by words only, if you have visited Ethiopia and what they are committed in doing. And I think that it will also be an avenue for South-South cooperation, for people to learn from Ethiopia's experience and also adapt it to their national needs. I think this is practical South-South cooperation that will be eminent to people to really jump on, and Ethiopia is always willing to share their experiences, and the Prime Minister has always been forthcoming, showing commitment for that.
With regard to climate finance and development undertakings, the Assistant Secretary General urged developed nations to extend fair support to the global south, especially countries that are dealing with debt.
for Africa that contributed less to the climate crisis, I think it's a little bit unfair sometimes to say that with our growing need of resources, we will have to respond to this. So that is where we actually need the Global North to help us. Of course, that is not that we are not reneging on our responsibility, but of course you know that also in the Global South, most of our countries have debt issues, okay, and it will be, and this there, the creditors, actually the Global North, so, and they contributed more, so it will be somehow justifiable if they can accompany us, rather than still leaving the burden totally on us. Of course, we do recognize that if they help us, we also been contributing our own resources in the Global South. But I think that for international cooperation and solidarity, I think it is important that it is looked at from a global perspective.
It is to be recalled that African leaders adopted Addis Ababa Declaration on Climate Change at the close of the Second Africa Climate Summit, heralding a historic moment that puts Africa at the forefront of global climate action.
And now a recap of the top stories once again. Farm Africa says put climate cash where it counts. And German envoy says GERD is a beacon of hope. You've been watching ABC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism. Thank you for your company. Get connected with the latest development. Goodbye.